Mr. Toastmaster, welcome fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. There are times when things just don't work out. There was a situation like that I went through last week. It was one of those times when I thought I had just the perfect routine in place and it was all going to work just marvelously. But something had to happen in the meantime. As many of you know, I am a school bus driver, and last Wednesday I was driving for a field trip over to the east of Lake Washington. So now I was heading back to the lot, and I was coming into Seattle on I-90. My goal was to get to our lot, which was on the north side of Elliott Bay, so I figured I could just go right onto the end of I-90, curve around the south side of Safeco Field, get right onto the viaduct, and I'd be in there right away. And this seemed to be working pretty well until I got to where I was right in sight of Safeco Field. And that's where the traffic ahead of me started slowing down very gradually but very steadily. And suddenly I was stuck in a line of traffic. I thought, well, what could be happening here? It hasn't happened this way the other times I've gone by this route. But then I realized this was Wednesday afternoon. The Seattle Mariners were playing a day game. The game was scheduled for 12:40. I looked at my watch and it was 12:55. I was stuck. Things just weren't working out. These issues come up at other times in our lives too, however, including when we're shopping. The other day we were at Target and we saw that a DVD of the movie 42 was selling for a price of $14.99, which sounds like a pretty good price, but we thought, well, if it's a Target now, maybe we got to go back to Sam's Club and see what they have there. Maybe they've got a better deal. So anyway, we went to Sam's Club and they didn't have it. So at this point we started thinking, well, I sure hope there's still some DVDs left at Target. Otherwise, things just aren't going to work out. But when we consider those situations, there's also a historical background to these kinds of situations. In ancient Israel, for example, there was once a battle between the Israelites and the Philistines, and as the battle went along, the Philistines captured Israel's Ark of the Covenant. This Ark of the Covenant was basically a chest. It was very well decorated. It held the stone tablets on which the Ten Commandments were inscribed. So when Israel had those things, had that Ark captured, it definitely was a time when things weren't working out. However, there was a twist to the situation. The situation of the lost Ark, you might call it. When the Philistine raiders came and ran off with this Ark, they put it in the temple of their idol Dagon. The next morning, somebody went into the temple and they saw that this idol, this statue, was face down on the floor right next to the Ark. Meanwhile, people living in that area were starting to get tumors and various other maladies, and they tried moving the Ark to some other place, and people there started complaining about things. They needed to go to. So they went to the people in Felicia went to the priest for advice, and the priest gave some very definite advice, the kind of advice I suppose Indiana Jones would have given them. And that was, this ark was something you don't want to fool around with. And so they did, so the long and the short of it is they returned the ark. And things worked better for everybody. And it worked that way with the other situations I described. And these twists happen with the other situations I described too. After we went to Sam's Club and found they didn't have 42, we went back to Target, and they didn't have the DVD. They also were selling it for $9.99, $5 lower than what it was being sold for before. Anyway, it's a great movie. Chadwick Boseman does a great job portraying Jackie Robinson, and Harrison Ford portraying Branch Rickey. Also with the traffic jam, one thing I realized was the lane to my right was moving a lot faster, so it actually worked out pretty well just to switch lanes, get onto 4th Avenue, get away from the stadium, get through downtown, and get back to the lot. I probably arrived at the lot at a different time, but it turned out to be the perfect time and place, because now that at the lot they needed somebody to take a ride down to a shop in Auburn or Sumner somewhere and bring back a bus that had been under repair. So that added about 2 or 3 hours to my work schedule that day. So sometimes that twist comes and things do work out. Sometimes things don't work out, but sometimes they do. Mr. Toastmaster.